Hello everyone, welcome back to online lecture series on engineering thermodynamics. Today we are beginning a new chapter, that is combustion. Before starting our new chapter, we will quickly revise our previous chapter. So we studied about actual vapor compression refrigeration cycle. This is different from our ideal cycle considering all the losses. So here the actual compression process is neither isentropic nor polytropic. So there will be some heat transfer taking place between the cylinder wall and vapor refrigerant during compression process. So here that's why there will be some form of temperature drop that is observed over here at the suction as well as at the delivery, and also there is a difference of evaporation pressure and compressor suction pressure. Similarly, there is a difference between condenser pressure and compressor delivery pressure. And here in actual practice we do subcooling after condensation in order to increase the refrigeration effect and capacity of the system, that can be seen from 9 to 10. The vapor refrigerant here leaving the superheater is usually superheated to few degrees before entering into the compressor, that is 1 to 2, that is superheating at suction. Similarly, we have sensible cooling from 5 to 6. The next topic was reversed heat engine cycle. So here we have previously studied heat engine in second law of thermodynamics, and here we are having reversed heat engine in which we are extracting heat from the low temperature reservoir and giving it to high temperature reservoir, and for that purpose we require work input. So here this is known as heat pump cycle or refrigeration cycle. And we also studied about the concept of heat pump and refrigeration, that is the required effect is different in case of heat pump and refrigerator. The next was reversed Carnot cycle, in which all the processes are having same nature but their direction is different, and we obtain the COP of refrigerator and heat pump. The next was Bell-Coleman cycle, in which the main four components are refrigerator, expander, cooler and compressor. And this is also known as reversed Brayton cycle. We studied Brayton cycle in gas power cycles. So here the reverse Brayton cycle or Bell-Coleman cycle is similar to each other, but the only difference is the direction of processes. You see the processes are same, that is isentropic compression, isobaric heat rejection, isentropic expansion and isobaric heat absorption. And here we studied about all processes in detail. Next, we derived the COP for this cycle. and that was the end of refrigeration cycle. Now we are beginning our new chapter for today, that is combustion. So let's begin. So our first topic for today is combustion of fuel. The combustion of fuels can be defined as a chemical reaction between fuel and oxygen. The combustion releases heat, hence it is exothermic reaction. So here there is a chemical reaction between fuel and oxygen. So we will see throughout this chapter that fuel when being added with oxygen some chemical reaction will happen and we will get some products which is known as flue gases. Okay, the fuel may be of three types, that is possible: solids, liquid or gas. The vast majority of fuels are found to be carbon, hydrogen or some combination of carbon or hydrogen, which is known as hydrocarbons. These fuels appear in forms of solid, liquid and gas. So during combustion, a fuel always reacts with oxygen and liberates energy. The necessary supply of oxygen is always obtained from air. So here oxygen is not separately taken in pure form, it is directly taken from air. A knowledge of constituents of air is therefore necessary in order that amount of oxygen is in a given bulk may be known. So actually what happens that here we don't directly use oxygen. Instead of that, the real thing which is happening here is fuel plus air gives us flue gases. Out of this air we are utilizing the oxygen for our combustion process. So knowledge of constituents of air is necessary to know the quantity of oxygen. Now air contains many gases as well as oxygens. So air can have how many these gases can be part of air, that is nitrogen, argon, helium, neon, krypton, xenon, carbon dioxide are also present, as well as some water vapor is also present. So you can see that out of the whole air only oxygen is necessary for us, and along with this we have this much of gases present in the combustion process. Of all this, oxygen and nitrogen make up the main bulk. So in the majority of the percentage are of oxygen and nitrogen. The remaining gases like argon, helium, neon, krypton, xenon and carbon dioxide are in very less quantity. For most of the combustion processes, it will be assumed that the air consists entirely of oxygen and nitrogen gases. For combustion, oxygen cannot be obtained without it being accompanied by the nitrogen. So nitrogen will always be present. However, nitrogen is an inert gas. Nitrogen is an inert gas. That means that it does not take part in the combustion reaction. So nitrogen will remain as it is during the combustion process. Now the gases have both mass and volume. So by mass, oxygen has 23.2% and nitrogen has 76.8%. And by volume, oxygen is 21% and nitrogen is 79%. This statement will be helpful in our analysis of combustion process. So you can note down this percentage in your notebook. Now our next theory is combustion equations. The combustion process, the chemical process of combustion is written out in the form of equations. So we will be dealing with equations only in chemical process. In a combustion process, when the fuel is completely oxidized, the combustion is said to be complete. For example, if a fuel contains carbon and hydrogen, complete combustion means all carbon is burnt and all hydrogen is reduced to water. So this is very important concept, that here the fuel is completely oxidized. The fuel here is completely oxidized. So full burning is happening, that is all carbon is burnt and all hydrogen is reduced to water. Take a case of combustion of carbon, that is C, with oxygen O2, which results in production of carbon dioxide CO2 if the combustion is complete. So when C plus O2 is fully burned and we obtain CO2, then this will be our complete combustion. The same is written over here. So this balanced equation for complete combustion of fuel such as carbon is known as stoichiometric equation. So this is the stoichiometric equation. Now let us consider another example, that is conversion of hydrogen, that is H2 with oxygen to form water. That is 2H2 plus O2 is equal to 2H2O. We are all well aware of this equation, that is 2 molecules of hydrogen combines with 1 molecule of oxygen to provide us 2 molecules of water. And the above equation of conversion of hydrogen tells us that first point is hydrogen reacts with oxygen to form steam or water. Second is 2 molecules of hydrogen reacts with 1 molecule of oxygen to give 2 molecules of steam or water. Third, now let's take the case of conversion of hydrocarbon, such as methane, a gas whose chemical symbol is CH4. So now here we were having pure carbon or pure hydrogen. Instead of that, now we are having a hydrocarbon, that is methane. This gas is also called as marsh gas. For the complete combustion with oxygen, the carbon will form carbon dioxide and hydrogen will form steam or water. That is necessary for complete combustion. So the stoichiometric combustion equation of methane with oxygen is written in this way. That CH4 combines with 2 molecules of oxygen which gives us CO2 plus 2H2O. So the same thing is repeated here, that CH4 plus 2O2 is equal to CO2 plus 2H2O. If you want, you can check this, and it is a balanced equation with all carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Now let us consider the conversion of hexane, that is C6H14, a paraffin with oxygen. The stoichiometric equation of hexane with oxygen is written in this way. Now this looks slightly complicated equation, but you can check by yourself, and it is completely balanced one. It must be remembered that chemical reactions always follow a definite natural laws, and as a result of this, definite natural substances are formed. So it is not like that we can simply mathematically adjust anything over here, but it follows some particular natural law, and as a result of this, a definite natural law will provide us definite natural substances. For example, the reaction of oxygen with carbon could not be considered as a forming C4O18. So this is some random chemical formula which is written over here, but it doesn't mean that here we are having 4 carbon plus 9 oxygen and it will provide us this. So this is not something which is like some mathematics, and this will not be correct in real life. Now the reaction of oxygen with carbon either forms carbon monoxide, and if it is incomplete it will create carbon monoxide, and carbon dioxide if it is complete. So here also one important thing which is coming here, that if we are having complete combustion, then we will have carbon dioxide, and if we have incomplete combustion we will have carbon monoxide. And these reactions are fixed by natural laws and cannot be changed. So now our next theory is minimum air requirement. So the minimum mass or volume of air required for complete combustion of 1 kg or 1 meter cube fuel is known as minimum air requirement. So here the minimum mass or volume of air required for complete combustion of 1 kg or 1 meter cube of fuel is known as minimum air requirement. It is also sometimes referred to as theoretical or correct or stoichiometric air requirement. So now we will be discussing about combustion of various fuels, and first we will begin with the easiest one, that is combustion of hydrogen. First we will do analysis by mass, that is gravimetric analysis. The combustion of hydrogen is given by this formula, that is 2H2 plus O2 is equal to 2H2O, that is already known to us. Now here the relative atomic mass of hydrogen is 1, which we are all aware of. So here the relative mass of hydrogen present here is 2 into 2, that is 4. Why? Because for hydrogen as an atom we have atomic mass as 1 and hydrogen as 2 molecules we have the atomic mass as 2, and there are 2 molecules are present of hydrogen. That's why it is having total relative mass as 4 in this case. So this entire term 2H2 is weighing 4. And then similarly the relative mass of oxygen present here is 2 into 16 is equal to O2. 2 into 16 is equal to 32. Why? Because one oxygen atom here is 8. So molecule O2 is having weight of 16. Sorry, there is a mistake here. Oxygen has total oxygen atom has a molecular weight of 16, and for O2 it will be 32. And here, so this is the value 4. So this weight O2 will be, as I have already mentioned, this will be 32. So summation of this will be ultimately give us for 2H2O, that is 36. So now here the meaning is that 4 masses of hydrogen, that is over here 4 masses of hydrogen combines with 32 masses of oxygen, that is over here, to give 36 masses of hydrogen, that is this. Here it should be off. So now here we will divide all throughout by 4. So 1 mass of hydrogen, so you need to focus on this statement, and we will divide all numeric terms by 4. So here first it will be 1 mass of hydrogen, then we have 8 masses of oxygen to give 9 masses of H2O. Finally, assuming a mass to be in kilograms, so instead of simple mass we can write down kg, that is 1 kg of H2 is plus 8 kg of O2 is equal to 9 kg of H2O. So it is quite straightforward. And here it is already stated that oxygen is contained in the air and it is 23.2% by mass. Hence 8 kg of O2 is above 23.2% of mass theoretically required for combustion, for complete combustion of H2. So here the mass of air required to completely burn 1 kg of H2 is given by this formula. Now what is the meaning of this? So let's say that here we are having air, and here we are having oxygen, let's say that we are having 100 kg of air, and here we are having oxygen as 23.2, and what we require actually is 8 kg of O2. That is written over here, that 8 kg of O2 is required here for complete combustion. So here 8 kg is required. So how much air will be needed? So it will be like this, that 8 multiplied by 100 divided by 23.2, or we can say that this is nothing but 8 divided by 0.232, that is equal to 34.5 kg. So this is the amount of air which is necessary for complete combustion of 1 kg of hydrogen. So one more thing that we were assuming here, that air is combination of two things. First is oxygen and second is nitrogen. So here we have answer we have obtained is 34.5. Out of this 8 kg is oxygen, so remaining will be here, that is 26.5. So here it is already stated that this nitrogen does not take any part in the combustion itself. So hence there is as much as N2 after combustion as it was there before combustion. So here, to form from the above analysis, if 1 kg of hydrogen is burned in 34.5 kg of air, then the products of combustion will be 9 kg of H2O together with 26.5 kg of nitrogen, because it is already stated over here that this 26.5 kg of nitrogen will remain as it is and it will not take part in the combustion process. And this portion 34.5 kg of air is called as minimum or stoichiometric mass of air required for complete combustion of 1 kg of hydrogen. Now next is analysis by volume. Avogadro's hypothesis states that equal volume of gases at the same temperature and pressure contain the same number of molecules. From this, it follows that any proportions by number of molecules are also proportions by volumes. So let's say that if there are twice number of molecules present for combustion, twice number of molecules present of one gas as there for another gas, then this gas has twice volume of other gas at the same pressure and temperature. So this is equivalence between the number of molecules and the equal volume for a given pressure and temperature between two gases. And this hypothesis can be used in the solution of combustion volumetric analysis. So again we will repeat the combustion equation of hydrogen, that is given by this formula: 2H2 plus O2 is equal to 2H2O. So here what we will say, that 2H2 means 2 molecules of H2. Here for this 2H2 means 2 molecules of H2. Here the coefficient is not written, so it is 1. So O2 means 1 molecule of O2, and here 2H2O means 2 molecules of H2O. So by Avogadro's hypothesis, the above equation can be rewritten in this way, that 2 volumes of H2 plus 1 volume of O2 is equal to 2 volume of H2O. And we can divide the whole equation by 2. So 1 volume of H2 plus 0.5 volume of O2 is equal to 1 volume of H2O. So finally what we are getting is, instead of volume, let us say that volume is written with the unit of meter cube, then it can be rewritten as 1 meter cube of H2 plus 0.5 meter cube of O2 is equal to 1 meter cube of H2O. So again this is rewritten over here, that 1 meter cube of H2 plus 0.5 meter cube of O2 is equal to 1 meter cube of H2O. And again, as we all know that air contains 21% of oxygen by volume. So here we are having 0.5 meter cube of O2. Then to get the total air, we can say that 0.5 divided by 0.21. If you recall, the same thing is done in our previous slide. So here we are getting 2.38 meter cube of air. So in this air there will be 0.5 is already oxygen, so the remaining part will be nitrogen. Here also we are assuming that the air is fully made up of only two constituents, that is carbon, that is oxygen and nitrogen. That's why if 0.5 meter cube is oxygen, then the remaining, that is 1.88 meter cube, is nitrogen. Hence the equation can be rewritten in this way, that 1 meter cube of hydrogen combines with 2.38 meter cube of air to give us 1 meter cube of hydrogen plus 1.88 meter cube of nitrogen. The volume of oxygen or air calculated above is called as stoichiometric volume. Since it is minimum volume required to completely burn 1 meter cube of hydrogen, it is also referred to as theoretical or the correct minimum value. So here first what we have done is we have considered the example of hydrogen, that is combustion of hydrogen. Now we will take other fuels and we will do the same analysis by mass as well as by volume. So let's begin. So first we will begin with formation of carbon dioxide. That is, first we have discussed about hydrogen here, and now we will discuss about carbon. So our second case will be combustion of carbon to carbon dioxide. So here our first analysis will be here analysis by mass. So let's begin. We all know the combustion equation, C plus O2 is equal to CO2. So here if we count the value of mass, then here we are having 12 plus 2 times 16 is equal to 12 plus 32, so this will result in 44. So now we will be dividing the entire equation with 12, so here 1 plus 32 by 12 is equal to 44 by 12. So what we can write down here, that 1 plus 8 by 3 is equal to 11 by 3. So what we are getting here is 1 kg of carbon plus 8 by 3 kg of oxygen, then this will provide us 11 by 3 kg of CO2. So now this is the volume of oxygen, sorry, the mass of oxygen. So based on this we can obtain the mass of air. So 8 by 3 kg of O2 is contained in how much quantity of air, because here it will be 8 by 3 divided by 0.232, and this will provide us 11.5 kg of air. So here to repeat one more point, that if you are confused that why we are dividing it with 0.232, suppose we are having 100 kg of air, and out of this the value of oxygen is 23.2. so here this is the standard proportion that is present. So here we are having 8 by 3 kg. So once we put question mark with the cross multiplication, we can obtain that the answer will be 8 by 3 multiplied by 100 divided by 23.2. So answer will be 11.5. That is over here. Now out of this, the difference between the kg of air and kg of oxygen will give us kg of nitrogen. So nitrogen will be equal to 11.5 minus 8 by 3, and this will give us 8.84 kg of N2. So now the equation becomes like this, that 1 kg of carbon plus 11.5 kg of air is equal to 11 by 3 kg of CO2 plus 8.84 kg of N2. So this is the way our final equation comes based on the mass analysis. So now our second case is analysis by volume. Here the equation will remain same, that is C plus O2 is equal to CO2. So now to write down this in the volume form, we can say C plus 1 meter cube O2 is equal to 1 meter cube of CO2. So here we will not write down here any meter cube because this is in solid form and we cannot have a complete analysis based on the volume for the solid fuel. So we will keep it as it is. And here, if 1 meter cube of O2 is present, then we can obtain the volume of air which is required. So 1 meter cube of O2 is contained in 1 by 0.21, that is 4.76 meter cube of air. So out of this already we have 1 meter cube of O2. So if we deduct 1 meter cube, then remaining will be the nitrogen. So volume of N2 is equal to 4.76 minus 1 is equal to 3.76 meter cube. Barabar. Okay, so here we can write down this equation again in another form, that is C plus 4.76 meter cube of air gives us 1 meter cube CO2 plus 3.76 meter cube N2. So this is the analysis for combustion of carbon to carbon dioxide. And now we will start another analysis. That is our third case. Incomplete combustion of carbon to carbon monoxide. So here first obviously we will do analysis by mass. So our first will be analysis by mass. That is, now as we have already seen it for carbon dioxide, we can quickly go through this. So 2C plus O2 is equal to 2CO. So here the weights will be like this: 24 plus 32 is equal to 56. And here we can divide it by 24, so the final answer will be 1 plus 4 by 3 is equal to 7 by 3. Now we can write down that 1 kg C plus 4 by 3 kg of O2 is equal to 7 by 3 kg of CO. So again here, if you see, that if we need to calculate the quantity of air, then it will be like 4 by 3 by 0.232. So this will give us the answer as 5.76. So I will be doing this kind of short calculation, and out of this 5.76, if we remove the oxygen part, that is this, then it will be equal to 3. It will be, sorry, here it will be 4.42 kg. So we can write down this equation now, that 1 kg of C plus 5.76 kg of air is equal to 7 by 3 kg of CO plus 4.42 kg of N2. So this will be our answer. And this 4.42 kg of nitrogen doesn't take part here. So now the next will be our analysis by volume. Second is analysis by volume. So here again we can directly write down C plus 1 meter cube O2 is equal to 2 meter cube CO. Here we are not mentioning the volume of Ca because it is in the solid form. So 1 divided by, if you recall, 1 divided by 0.21 can be written as 4.76. This will be the quantity of air, and 4.76 minus 1 is equal to 3.76. So this will be the value of air, and this will be the volume of N2. So the final answer will be like this, that C plus 4.76 meter cube air is equal to 2 meter cube CO plus 3.76 meter cube N2. So this will be the final relation here. Now next is our fourth case of combustion, that is CO combustion of carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide. So this will be our fourth case of combustion analysis. So we will stop here for today, and let's first copy this. So in our today's lecture, we started the combustion chapter with combustion of fuels. We saw the basic combustion equations, we defined minimum air requirement, and we did analysis of hydrogen combustion by mass and volume. Then we studied about combustion of carbon to carbon dioxide by mass and volume, and then incomplete combustion of carbon to carbon monoxide. In our next lecture, we will continue this for our other fuels. This is end of today's lecture. Thank you for watching this video.